So recently I did a video on drugstore makeup products that I think are better than high-end. And in that video, I asked you guys if you would want to see a separate video on high-end products that I think are actually worth the money. And I put together a bin here. It's pretty hefty. It's a pretty good sized bin. So this is probably going to be quite the lengthy video, but I have most of them on my face right now. But let's cut the intro here and get into the makeup because there's going to be a ton to talk about. I'm gonna link everything I'm talking about down below in the description box if you do want to check anything out. If you enjoy this video while you're watching and you find it helpful, feel free to give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. Let's get into makeup. Like I said in my last video, makeup is makeup. I think there's amazing drugstore products and I think there's amazing high-end products. This video does not mean that you need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on high-end makeup to have good products. But out of the high-end makeup, if you are wanting to either venture into high-end makeup and you're not sure what to buy, or if you're someone who only buys high-end makeup and you only like high-end makeup brands, these are my favorites. Let's start off with one of my favorite eye products ever invented. These are the Laura Mercier Caviar Eye Sticks. Right now, I'm wearing the shade Intense. Wait, is that the shade I put on? Literally, where did you just go? I need to clean my makeup filming desk here so badly that it took me literally about 15 minutes to find my lash glue today. This is in the shade Metallic Taupe. It's what's on my eyes right now. These are eyeshadow sticks, so they're kind of like a cream formula that you can just stick on, you know, go like that have the most insane lasting power. It's what I love about these. I have about probably 10 different shades of these. I have some bright ones. I've tried matte ones, shimmer ones. I love them all. They last amazing. Whenever I swatch it on my hand, which I'm going to do at the end of this video because I won't be able to get it off. When I swatch it on my hand, even with an oil makeup remover, you have to like really work to get these off. So they are super long lasting. If you live in humidity or if you're going to be wearing your makeup for like a full day, pick up a Caviar Eye Stick. My all-time favorite shade is Intense Moonlight. It's more of a taupey kind of icy shade, but the shade I'm wearing right now I also really love because the color to me is just like champagne teddy bear. It's like not too rich, not too cool. It's not gold, and it just has this really pretty undertone to it. And then what I've been using on a daily basis for probably the past 2 months now is the Vanilla Kiss shade, and this one is just a totally matte cream shade. So it's a perfect base for eyeshadow, and because these are so long lasting, I feel like it just really helps my powder shadow stay on over top. Next up is a Charlotte Tilbury blush. This is in the shade Pillow Talk. Charlotte Tilbury has this thing with tones. I don't know what it is, but there's something that they do to their tones. She just has a look. There's something about their eyeshadows and their blushes, whatever the tone, whatever the secret little color that they put in there, just really is so flattering on the skin. It does give you that like Charlotte Tilbury model-y kind of look. I don't know what they're doing to these products. It doesn't look impressive at all in the pan. I'm wearing it on my face right now. It's been one of my favorite blushes, especially lately. I put it on and it just looks so summery, so flattering. This does have a glow to it. In the middle, there's like a little glowy kind of highlight product. So when you mix it together, you do get this glowy blush. You can see it on me now. Maybe I'll add a little bit more just so you can see because the color in here just really doesn't do it justice. I'm kind of scared to go overboard right now. The color is just like such a beautiful tone. I actually have a handful of Charlotte Tilbury products in this video, which is kind of funny because I did a full face trying Charlotte Tilbury. And I also did a video where I went into a Charlotte Tilbury counter and the person did my makeup. And I wasn't super impressed overall by everything that I had tried. I think in both those, I mean, there were standout products in both videos, but now I feel like I've tried so much from the brand that I definitely have my standout products from them that I do think are worth it and just are a little bit different than other products. They just kind of stand out. So I am going to mention a few from the brand. By the way, this video is not sponsored by anyone. These are just what I like. That's what happens with most brands. Once you try enough products, there are good products from brands and bad products from brands. Next up, we have the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powders. This one is pressed, this one is loose. I have a whole concealer routine video where I show exactly how I get the most flawless under eye for me. I have major issues with creasing, especially lately. It's just been off the charts. But this in the shade 1 is just a super soft, extremely finely milled powder. It smooths out the under eyes and it does have a little bit of a tint to it, so it does really brighten. My issue with a lot of powders, especially for the under eyes, is that they darken my under eyes for whatever reason. Because both these have a little bit of a white tint, they do just lift everything up, brighten everything a bit. And this is really rare that I like a loose powder for my under eyes, but both of these I love. Between the two, I find myself reaching for the pressed one more just because I prefer to work with pressed powders more, but if you have issues with your under eyes, check out these products and check out that whole concealer routine video if you want to see exactly what I do and how I use them. Eyebrow pencils especially are one of those things that there are so many amazing drugstore eyebrow pencils on the market now. I think it's one of those categories that you could really just cut the cost and get a drugstore brow pencil. Same with mascara. I'm actually not mentioning a mascara in this video because I love like the Too Faced Better Than Sex. I love NARS Climax, but I also just have so many drugstore mascaras that I'm like, I don't know, man. Out of all the products out there, I think eyebrow pencils and mascaras are the easiest to buy drugstore for. Get the exact same result. However, I am including a brow pencil in here because this is, and there's my hair. I don't have anything else in my collection that is like this. It's the Huda Beauty Balm Brows Micro Shade Brow Pencil. I use the shade 7 Black Brown. The reason this is in here is because this is the finest friggin' eyebrow pencil I have ever seen in my life. I've tried most of them, and this is the tiniest little thing. I don't know how they made this so it doesn't just break off when you use it because it is so small, but it is excellent. I'm wearing it right now. It stays on, and I love how fine the tip is because I can still get the kind of like hair strokes with it. I usually like using a brow pen. I love the Glossier Brow Flick. The only thing that annoys me about this is, as you can see, when you put back the cap, because it's this cool looking shape, it does take sometimes a little bit of like twirling around to get it to line up right. I mean, it takes maybe like a second, and then you do get a spoolie on the other side, which I like coming through afterwards. Okay, I had to stop wearing this and talking about it in videos because it was just what I wanted to put on every single time I did my makeup, and it's still what I use most often on a daily basis, but this is the Too Faced Natural Matte Eyeshadow Palette. This isn't a new release. This has been around for forever, but it's one of those products that there is something about the tones in here and the formula that my eyes just pop every time I use this, and I absolutely love how blendable these are. I haven't ever had my eyeshadow looking patchy, looking weird with these because they kind of just blend themselves, and I love that I have a couple cool tone options in here and then just the perfect amount of warm shades. Like, it's not too much. This one I love for the inner corner or for all over the lid. Usually I'll just kind of go in with like these and then deepen it up with this one if I want to. They're all matte and I love it. It's a good one. But if you want a little sparkle in your life, these came out, I want to say within the last 6 months or so they're fairly recent, and I friggin' love these. I reach for these all the time. These are the KVB Dazzle sticks. The gold-ish shade is Hail Surge, but it's kind of like more of a champagne gold, which again I love. I have this one on my inner corner right now on the lower lash line, and then this silver shade is Thundercloud. They are so insane. There's the silver one. They almost have this like wet feel when it first goes on, but they do dry down, and I don't find that these like flake all over my face or anything. Look at the metallic. And what I also really like about these is that they're surprisingly versatile. If you just want a really soft kind of glitter or kind of more of like a wash, you can just go in with your finger and tap a little bit on your lid. Or if you want it intense, you can definitely build this up and get a full on like wet looking kind of metallic eye. A highlighter that I'm pretty sure was in a Raves and Rejects video at some point, but honestly I totally forgot about in my sea of highlighters that is so beautiful. I whipped this out the other day and now I haven't been able to put it down, but it's what's on my cheeks right now. It is the Bare Minerals highlighter in the shade Joy. So yeah, you're like, what the heck? This is peach. But look at the reflect. You get just this super pretty warm kind of sheen. In natural lighting, this looks friggin' killer. It's one of the few highlighters that doesn't emphasize my texture. So if you're someone who has issues with that, this is a good one. It's just very soft on the face, and it does give you that insane reflect, but still being a natural kind of texture on the skin. When my skin is more fair, when I don't have tanner on, this one gives me kind of a like almost blush topper kind of look. It isn't as much of a full-on highlight as when my skin is tanned, but when I wear this when I'm fair, I'll bring it down a little bit more so it sits kind of like where my blush is. For a bronzer slash contour, the Dior Backstage Contour Palette, I've definitely mentioned this in a Raves and Rejects video. This is one of my favorites. The reason why I think this is worth it is not only is the formula perfect, I love this shade right here for contouring. It's not too gray, and I really like using a fluffy brush and just kind of mixing all three. That's what I did today. I used mostly this one today because my skin is more tan than usual, but when I'm fair, I'll just go in and mix those two mostly, and also totally use these as eyeshadows and get a full matte kind of eyeshadow look with this. The thing I don't like is that this is called Universal, but they don't have any other shades. This is the only palette, and it's definitely not universal. two face powder options for you. One is loose, one is pressed. I talked about both of these in my recent current favorites video, so I'm not gonna get too wild here, but the Tatcha, the silk powder, is one of the few loose powders I can use on my skin, and I love this because it blurs out my pores, it blurs out your face without giving a matte finish. It actually has a pretty glowy finish. So if you're someone who still likes to glow but you like to powder your face, this is where it's at. It's super, super finely milled. I don't like using either of these powders underneath my eyes. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder in the shade 1 Fair. And this is super blurring. This is like airbrush blurred kind of finish. This is definitely more matte than the Tatcha Silk Powder, but I've seen this look like pretty glowy on some people. I don't get a glow from this at all. It looks like pretty soft matte on me. I will say, once you have it on for like an hour or two, I do feel like the glow, if I'm wearing glowy foundation or glowy products underneath, does come through a bit more. But initially it's like a soft kind of matte on me, versus if you want a glowy powder, get the Tatcha. This has been a holy grail product of mine for years, is the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix setting spray. It's just one of the few setting sprays that I think does really help with the longevity of your face makeup. If you tried the original formula of this setting spray, this one is slightly more glowy, so I can only use this if I either plan on kind of setting certain parts of my face with powder after this, or if I go in with a more matte foundation and then I want to add glow. So I can't do a glowy foundation plus a setting spray. It's just Glow City. The Shiseido Synchro Skin Soft Blurring Primer. This was also in my recent current favorites video. I showed applying this in that video and what it does, but basically it goes on kind of like a glowy, soft kind of serum almost, a little bit creamy, but like a mix between a serum and a cream. But then once it's on for about 30 seconds to a minute, all of a sudden it transforms from being glowy and just turns into this kind of soft, slightly blurred base. And I love this because all of my other blurring primers are more targeted, like for small areas. I wouldn't put them all over my face because they're just a little bit too drying or a little bit too thick or something. But this one is one that I can put all over. It's not extremely blurring like some of my other pore blurring primers, but it does give your face just this overall almost like slightly filter softness kind of look to it. It's really wild. I don't have any other primers that are like this. I feel like this next product is one of the most underrated products out there. This is the Laura Mercier Candle Glow Sheer Perfecting Powder in the shade 1. I used this in a foundation routine at some point. This has definitely been in Raves and Rejects videos, but I like to use this in a lot of different ways. What this is it's a pressed powder with a very subtle sheer kind of glow. You can also use a highlighter brush and actually use it as a highlighter, which if you just want like a daily natural looking glow from within highlight, if you apply this with a smaller brush like the Sigma F03, it'll give you a more targeted highlight. But you can also use a bigger fluffy brush and just set your whole face with it, and it gives the prettiest glow while still setting and having a powder finish. I'll link that foundation routine video down below so you can see it in action, but this just looks so beautiful. Anytime I use this, I'm like, why did I ever put this thing down? So if you liked the sound of the Tatcha powder, but you like a pressed powder better and you want to glow, I would go with this one. It really depends on the brush you used. So just FYI, if you put it on, it's like too glowy, try a fluffier, kind of less dense brush. If you want it more glowy, use a denser, smaller brush. Best lower lash line mascara. Just stop looking at everything else. It's the Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara. I've been using this for, I want to say a few years now. It doesn't transfer down. It's perfect. It has a super tiny little brush so you can get down in there. That's about all you need to know about that. Let's switch to lips. Right now I'm wearing one of my favorite nude lip combos ever, but I use these products interchangeably with other things, with drugstore lip liners, but individually I do recommend all of these as well. The Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude Lip Liner, I know you hear about it everywhere, but again, there's something about the tone of Charlotte Tilbury products. It's just so flattering, and it can go with so many different nude lip looks. This is like my go-to. I actually have another one that's like down to here. It gives your lips shape, but it's nice and neutral. And then one of my favorite lipstick formulas of all time, the NARS Velvet Matte Lip Pencil. I have a few different shades of these. My all-time favorite is Belle De Jour. It's what I'm wearing right now. This is the lightest nude one I have. Beautiful light nude color. And then I also love Good Times if you want a little bit of a darker nude recommendation. They're matte, but they're very comfortable and they actually stay on really well. So on the bottom there's Belle De Jour and on the top is Good Times. And then over top, I have on one of my favorite glosses of all time. This is probably in my like top 5. This is the Lorac Luxe Gloss. The shade Out of Office is what I have on right now. And I also love the shade Vibes. If you like a pink tone kind of lip, the formula of these are super comfortable. They're not sticky, but they give you this like very plump, very glossy kind of look. They do have color payoff to them, but they also don't totally cover up whatever lipstick you have underneath. It kind of just adds to it. Ulta was doing a thing a couple weeks ago where they marked this down to like $10 or something. So I'm really hoping these aren't going to be discontinued. If you have not tried these yet, I feel like these are so underrated. Lorac is just a brand that like goes under the radar a lot, but they have a lot of really great products. I love their eyeshadows too. This is definitely one of my favorite makeup discoveries of the year. I know this has been around for a while, but I just hadn't tried it until this year. It's the Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury. I have 3 shades of this now. I have 3, 2, and this is 1. And I like to apply it just directly on my face as a highlight. It is a liquid, so I don't put on a powder and then go in with this. Just use this if you're only having liquids on your face, and then if you want to powder certain parts of your face after, then you go in with powder. I really don't even know what is so special about this, but it does something magical on your face. Here's the shade 3. I started with the shade 3 because I didn't know they had lighter shades, but I do like using the shade 2 or 3 kind of all over my face underneath makeup. If I'm going in with a more matte foundation, it gives you that glow underneath and it's so pretty. But most often I use these as a face highlighter. If you are looking for a highlight that is pretty much undetectable on the skin as far as emphasizing your texture and just, you know, seeing it on there, this one just melts into the skin. Outside, these look so good. There's not any glitter. It just looks like you have glowing, radiant skin. Also, if you're looking at this bottle and you're like, how the heck am I ever gonna go through this? They do make smaller sizes. My number 2 is in the mini version. I have 2 other blushes that I wanted to quickly mention. This is the Buxom Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush. The shade is Wanderlust. I also love Havana. It's more pink. So many people have mentioned these as their favorites, like on YouTube. I'm one of them. There's something unique about this blush shade and the formula. Very long lasting, and similar to the Charlotte Tilbury, the shade is just weirdly flattering. It's pigmented, but it still blends out and just has this really unique, very soft kind of formula to it. And then the other one is the Bare Minerals bronzer in the shade Kiss of Pink. The whole bronzer thing makes no sense. It's a blush highlighter. But yeah, that's exactly what it is, a blush highlighter. And this is a pinky tone, so I like using this as a blush if I want a super glowy pinkish blush. It has such a beautiful color and glow to it, but it is glowy. Like if you like the Ciate Summer Love glowy blushes, you would love that. I've officially decided this is my favorite high-end concealer. This is the Hourglass Vanish Concealer. I mentioned this in my recent current favorites video. I'm wearing it right now. It is full coverage, full coverage, but you need the tiniest amount, which is ideal because the more concealer you put on, if you have issues with creasing, you'll probably have it worse if you put more concealer on. I just like cringe looking at old videos where I put like so much concealer, like trials. I mean, everyone was doing it a few years ago. Now it's just, you know, less is more. So I like when I can find a concealer formula that I just need to dot and it gives me full coverage. But my favorite thing about this is that I don't need to set it. I don't need to set it with powder. My fair shade is Birch, but this one is a little bit light. And then Oat is my tanner shade. I'll just kind of like adjust these a little bit. They do have mini sizes that you can buy on Sephora if you want to just try it out. If you want to know some of my favorite high-end foundations, I just recently did a best foundations for summer video, and about half of those were high-end. So you can check out that video if you want to know. The foundation that I have on my face right now is the new MAC Studio Radiance foundation. This is in the shade C4. This replaced the old formula of MAC Face and Body mixed with the Ciate Extraordinary foundation. I'm pretty sure by the time this video goes up, I'll probably have a review on one of these come in or it's up. The rest of my jewelry, makeup, everything I talked about in today's video will be listed down below in the description box. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Let me know if you're gonna be trying anything out. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.